Dude, thank you so much for taking some time and joining us here in Vancouver, Canada, the Toddcast podcast.
Thanks, Todd, for having me, bro. Heard
Yeah,
so much
man.
about you. Our mutual friend, Amanda Sellers, who's a rock star.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah, we were talking before pressing the record here that, we go, I mean, I go way back with her through the radio station I worked at and the indie director and stuff. So I've known her as like, initially as she was the front person of a rock band here in Vancouver, who's then subsequently gone to do some big things in voiceover.
right,
She's the girl you hear on my
right,
podcast in between the
right.
songs and all that. Amanda's like, I feel
Uh,
super fortunate to be part of.
You have a
She's
rock
part of.
star on your show. You have a rock star that does voiceovers for you because she's on a lot of big things that I didn't know were her voice until I would see her post these things on her, social media, and I was, wait, I've seen that commercial, or wait, I've heard that, and oh, wait, I remember that, or wait, I see
Totally
it
right.
every day. You
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
rock star
It's
voiceover in your podcast, bro.
yeah, totally, man. And so you guys know each other through like a radio show?
Yes, BYLR radio. Actually, radio for me, man, goes back to the early 90s. Actually, I started out, um, the early years of hip hop, um, in New York City, radio wasn't playing hip hop 24/7, like it does now. Now we see hip hop just, globally. It was just only playing at nighttime in New York City. But the first radio station to start playing it 24/7 was a radio station known as, Hot 97. Everyone still knows it's,
Sure.
hip hop radio station, an urban station. I was on the first morning show on that station as a DJ, with Ed Lover, legendary Ed Lover, and Dr. Dre, who kind of like really helped start that radio station, get some legs in the hip hop world. So that's where my radio career started, and pretty much did all of New York City radio station with those guys as well. And then when the pandemic started, Todd, Jesse Itzler decided to start a radio station of his own. Everyone was inside. Everyone was doing a bunch of things on the internet. They were doing a bunch of podcasts and just a bunch of YouTube conversations. We were
Yeah.
getting to know each other. A lot of people got to know each other actually during the pandemic.
Yeah,
That's
big time.
actually when and that's when I met Amanda Sellers, because they start the radio show. They start a morning show on BYLR radio. That's the name of the radio station. It's called BYLR radio.
Mhm.
And we had like an eclectic group. I'm from New York. We had another young man. Okay, so I'm in my 50s, young 50s. We have another young man that is young 20s from New York. Amanda, who is middle-aged from Canada. We had another young lady that's a millennial from Atlanta. We had another gentleman that was actually born from the Caribbean islands. I mean, it was a motley crew, bro, and it was fun. I got a chance. I met all those people for the first time, Todd.
Right through the pandemic.
Yes. Yeah.
Man,
Isn't that something?
isn't that something? Like that's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like how the world has changed. Like now the like you can literally like I've been doing this podcast now for this is my ninth year.
Yep.
But for the first few years, it was hard to get people to agree to do video. Like, I don't know,
Right.
like I'll do audio, man. I'll fuck the video. Like, I don't want to do video. But now it's like, yeah, it's commonplace. It's like, yeah, man, we'll jump on a Zoom, we'll quickly bank something off. And it's no fuss, no muss. It doesn't matter where you are. It's
Right.
very easy now.
Right. And for me, meeting the people that I met, it's changed my life, because during the pandemic, I actually moved down here to Atlanta, where I am right now, continue to do what I'm doing right now. It opened up my world to do
Mhm.
this right here. And it's actually good for me where I'm at in my life right now, going on the road the way I was on the road before, throughout my 20s and 30s and most of my 40s,
Mhm.
doing this, educating people, giving my experiences, and pretty much just trying to give wisdom from my point of view to others about life and being in the music business. This is where I want to be.
Yeah, and it's a young man's game too. Like going back to your saying, DJing for Arrested Development and Dougie Fresh and doing some stuff with Salt-N-Pepa and
Right.
Freedom Williams and all that. Like you're still in the game. You're just not in the game in the same sense of the word.
Correct, 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 correct. Um, Even like you just said, working for all those people from home. For Dougie Fresh, I'm pretty much still out there on the road with him. For Dougie Fresh, so he has touring DJs. Dougie Fresh is probably the first hip hop artist to have multiple DJs. You know, he has two DJs that goes on the road with him when he does the show with the Get Fresh crew, himself and Slick Rick. And when he does parties where he's hosting and it's like a 3 or 4 hour type of thing, I've been the guy with him pretty much. And the same thing with, Salt-N-Pepa. Again, like you just said, Arrested Development. I would, go out there with Speech when he would slim his show down and he
Mhm.
would bring up the entire band. I would be the DJ to pretty much fill that in for the band. Freedom
That's
Williams as well with
awesome.
CNC Music Factory as well.
Yeah.
When he does go on the road with the band, he would bring me as a DJ as well. Salt and Pepper,
Wow.
that's a totally different story. My musical involvement with those ladies is is much bigger than as just as a DJ. And I just love going out there filling in for Spinnerella as a DJ. But yeah, my involvement with Salt-N-Pepa was something totally different than the rest of the artists. That was more touring. But like you said, that's a young man's game.
Big time, big time. And mentioning before we are press and play record, we were kind of talking a little bit about how both of us music's been just kind of a constant. It's been in our lives literally.
Right.
Like I can't remember a time when it really wasn't. So and I think I started to press you a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, are we recording?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, let's record something," because I want to get like your first. And this is like I don't even know if I can think about it really, but like, what are some of the first early music memories for you?
I asked that question to a lot of people even when I talk to them online. I ask them, "What's your first musical memory?"
Yeah,
Mine's Todd is one out of two. It's either listening to Buddy Rich, who is a legendary jazz drummer, big
drummer,
band,
crusher. Yeah,
or the first time I heard Kiss. I'm not sure which one was the first. Which one came first?
yeah.
Was it Kiss or was it Buddy Rich? So my introduction to music was definitely jazz, big band, and hard rock.
Interesting, because I think
Very.
I would think that probably my memories probably include Kiss as well, and it was probably like, what the
Uh-oh.
hell is
This is
that
about to
album
become
doing in
another
the house?
podcast.
Why are those girls naked on the cover looking like they're idolizing these characters that are all in makeup and everything? It's either that or do you remember I just remember driving around as a little kid in Vancouver and like driving to the hockey Vancouver Canucks games or just driving around or whatever in my mom's Mustang. And do you remember the Eddie Rabbit song? I love a rainy night. I love a rainy
Of
night. I
course.
love to hear the thunder, watch the lightning. Anyway, I
Yes.
remember that specifically that song, and my mom just cranking it in her Mustang. I don't know if that's my first musical memory, but it's got to be one of them, man.
And did you fall in love with music then
Yeah,
immediately?
dude. Yeah, it was like, it was all over. Like for us, it was the Eagles, and it was, Dolly Parton, but it
Okay.
was like Little River Band, and it was Black Sabbath, and some Zeppelin, and
Right.
Genesis, and it was all
Right.
over the map. But I loved it all. For me, it's like a good song's a good song. I'm not, I'm known in Vancouver as a rock guy, but I'm not a music snob at all. Like if it's a good song, it's a good song.
So now here we go. So it goes from being introduced to heavy metal, hard rock, and big band jazz, not bebop, not Max Roach and Art Blakey and you know and John Coltrane, those guys, big band jazz. Um, it went from there, and still having that in my repertoire to now hip hop is being introduced to the world. You know,
In New York, you're living in New York too, right?
correct, correct, correct.
Yeah.
And
Like
now hip hop is
I've
being
had on Run DMC, and his stories of back in the day in New York City, man. Like it's pretty incredible. It was like the melting pot. It was where
Yeah.
everything was happening. Is the
Studio
nucleus.
54 is New York,
Yeah, dude.
you know? So now hip hop is being introduced and being actually like experimented with, not just introduced, experimented with and being figured out during this time. So, of course, as you said, I'm there for it and I'm watching it. I'm younger than those guys, so I'm not participating. I'm literally watching it. This is interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so put that on the same table. On that same table, now my dad puts me in Juilliard School of Music.
Okay. All
Now
right.
I'm studying Dvorak, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, Rachma. I'm studying all these guys, Brahms, everyone, Chopin, and all of that together was happening at the same time. All my teenage years, all of that was going on at the same time. Not as, like, well, then I did this and then I did that, then I did this. No, that was happening all together.
That's crazy. So, who were the first bands to really grab a hold of you then?
Well, like I said, Kiss and
Yeah.
Buddy Rich was the first ones that I remember. And, then again, heavy metal, I dove deep into heavy metal at the time. So, of course, the mighty Van Halen,
Yeah.
of course, like you just mentioned, Black Sabbath. So Ozzy Osbourne for me, early Randy Rhoads days, going to Jakey Lee. I kind of like checked out after like the Ultimate Sin album, Motley Crue, and during this time, like I'm saying to you, Todd, I'm going to all these concerts. I'm going to all of these concerts. Yeah. And as weird as it sounds, yes, I was the only black guy in those concerts. Bro, as you know, we're talking
Oh
late
yeah.
70s, early mid 80s, man. This
Yeah.
is not 2023. This is a different time.
Totally.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how about this one, Todd? So I went and saw, now you're a Kiss guy. I went to the Dynasty tour, which is like a 79 tour. I'm 9 years old. My
Yeah.
dad took me to the show at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And I'm too young to know the looks and certain things that'd be, I'm too young for that, but later on in life, I mean, when I say later, much later in life, having a conversation with him, I, realized, wow, not only did we go through that or you experienced that, but you knew you were gonna experience that by taking me there your Sunday.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yeah.
My parents come from the South, bro, you know, and they were raised in the Jim Crow era. So he knew, being a grown man, that, well, hey, this is a different environment that I'm taking my son in. And yeah, I'm gonna have to face this. But then again, he's faced that his entire life growing up in the South in a Jim Crow era. So it was nothing new. But for me, it was an experience that I didn't know what I was experiencing at that time. But later on, growing up, I did start to feel, wow, I don't see anyone that looks like me, and then I got introduced to bands like in the same, genre as hard rock, as like Bad Brains, Living Color, 24/7 Spies, and later on Lenny Kravitz, uh, and Jimi Hendrix was a big influence as well. He came later as well, later in my teens. Sad to say, I'm
And it takes
embarrassed.
some time though to find the classics, right? You're not always introduced to everything all at once, right? It took me forever to get to the Beatles. I was
So
always
when did you get to the Beatles? How old were you?
probably my early 20s,
Okay.
and I'm
Yeah.
turning 50 this year. So, it's a good chunk of my life ago. But, for a long, long, long time, I would have said Zeppelin's the best band of all time.
Right.
I'd probably say Beatles now.
You
One,
know,
one of the two.
when I was doing the radio show with Amanda, there was I did a segment on the Beatles, and forgot there was a time the Beatles was so popular. Now we have social media, we have this thing right here, and everyone goes on this thing to find out the latest, whatever, and you could do it within seconds, literally seconds. Something happens, boom. Now watch this. So you said you're a Beatles fan, or you discovered them later on. Do you
Yeah.
remember now the Beatles? Forgot which show it was, but they were on a television show where everyone from around the world had tuned into this. I think it was it the Merv Griffin show?
I think it was the Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan. Everyone, it's like millions of televisions had tuned in to watch the Beatles on this particular night. Now, watch this. See, the thing is, back then, Todd, you have to think there was only one television set in the entire house, most likely.
Right, with like
The
four
average,
channels, maybe.
correct, with the
Yeah.
average person. And here's the thing, you had to agree as a family on what we are all watching tonight. 7 o'clock, we're all watching The Honeymooners, or we're all watching I Love Lucy, or whatever it is. You get my point?
Yeah.
So the Beatles were so big that it seemed like everyone around the world was watching them during that time at
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Totally.
a
Like
big,
leave it to Beaver. We'll watch it tomorrow night. The Beatles are on right now.
and it didn't matter what age you were. You understand how powerful that is? That's a
Yeah.
big deal, man. That's
Dude,
it's
I
not
mean,
like social media. You have choices. We had
yeah, like,
choices too. They chose the Beatles.
yeah. Like name another band. Well, maybe Nirvana, but name another band since it's really rocked the world like that.
Not just band, moment.
Beatlemania.
Right. I mean, that moment was similar to something like a COVID where everyone's looking at one thing. You get my point at the same time.
Yeah.
Looking at one thing and focusing. I don't know. I don't think Michael Jackson, and you and I come from the era where when Michael Jackson would have a new video, it would make the news and everyone would go home that night and watch. Oh, wow, Thriller, the debut of Thriller is coming on tonight. Oh, the
Sure.
debut of Billie Jean is coming on tonight.
I remember that. Like, let's
Sure.
watch the whole 8, 9, 12 minute, whatever it was, video of Michael Jackson. And it was like everybody was going to do it that day.
Right. The debut of Thriller. Everyone knew it was coming on at 6 or 6:30, wherever you were,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And like you just said, everyone sat home to watch the debut of Thriller
Right.
and then spoke about it. And we didn't have this. We spoke about it as families. And the next day, if you were in school, you went to your school and spoke about it with your peers,
Yeah.
right?
Or maybe you got on your bike and you rode over to your buddy's place to shoot the shit about it. Oh, they're not home. I'll go to the next guy's.
Oh, that's like
Something
buying a
like,
new album. That's like buying a new album, Todd.
yeah, man.
And before you put it on at your house, like you said, you get on your bike and you go to your buddy's house to listen to it for the first time.
Yeah, what a time.
Those
Dude, I
days,
think I think we personally, like you're a few years older than me. You're my brother's age, it sounds like.
it's too.
I think that yeah, so you're my brother's age. So I think that we grew up in the perfect time because we understand that world. We know the world of no internet, no cell phones, gathering with your friends and making these jumps that you shouldn't be jumping on your bikes, on your, whatever. And like
Right,
come home when the lights come on, and that's
right.
it. Like be within shouting distance if your parents are calling or whatever. And like we lived outside,
Drinking from the water hose outside.
drinking from the water hose. Exactly. Yeah.
Drinking from the
Throwing
water
volleyball
fountain
at each
in
other.
school.
Yeah.
They still have water fountains in schools, in
I
public
think they
schools.
do. Yeah. I think they still have water fountains, but
No one's complained, Todd, and said,
well,
hey,
eventually
listen,
I'm sure they will.
I have to go and find a water fountain somewhere.
I know, right? Well, it's elementary schools and you'll find them.
Right, right.
Was that Kiss show that with your dad, the Dynasty tour? Was that your first concert then?
Okay, now that's another interesting as well. I don't know if that was my first concert or if seeing Buddy Rich was my first concert as well.
Oh,
Because I saw Buddy Rich very, 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 very young as well. I grew up in Westbury. Well, we moved to Westbury from the Bronx,
mm,
Long Island in New York. And up the block from me, there was a place called Westbury Music Fair, a very famous place that artists would come. I mean, Tom Jones, Jackson 5, back in the 70s,
yeah.
everyone would come there. And Buddy Rich came there, and my dad brought me backstage to meet him as well. Gave me a pair of his drumsticks, Todd, I don't know if that was my first concert or if the Kiss Dynasty tour was my first concert.
Do you still
Remember,
have those
those
sticks?
I was still in my single digit age.
Yeah,
So
you little kid.
yeah.
What did you do with those sticks? Please tell me you still have those Buddy Rich sticks.
Next question.
You're like, no, I wish.
Next caller.
Do you
Ohio,
have
you're on.
do you have much in terms of that stuff? Like, do you have much memorabilia from over the years, old shirts, concert stubs, that kind of shit?
Not from when I was a child, but um I started collecting, when I became aware of what that stuff is.
Yeah,
Not collecting anything like that's worthy of anything, but I do have a pair of Tommy Lee drumsticks
cool.
from, I'll tell you, was it the last show? It was a very important show though. I have a pair of one of my buddies, he's a drum tech, and yeah, he was like, "Hey D man, I got a pair of Tommy Lee's drumsticks for you. I did the show last night."
Crazy.
Yeah, I have a pair of
Dude,
his sticks here.
dude, I got a star on my hand because homage to Tommy.
That's the same one.
The reason I'm a drummer is Tommy Lee.
Okay, so when did you start playing?
Late, probably 20,
Okay,
early 20s kind of thing. And I'm, I don't play enough to be very good, but I can certainly butcher a classic and, smoke a joint and hang and have a couple beers with the boys.
right,
And, the good stuff about playing
that's right.
music, right?
So, who are your favorite rock drummers? Some of them.
Well, all the usual suspects, right? I mean, John Bonham's probably, if not the best. Of course, I love Ringo Starr. I love Dave Grohl's drumming. Um, I don't know. There's just so many great drummers. I mean, I love the Eagles. So Don Henley's got to be up there as well. And um, I don't know, man. Van Halen, Alex Van Halen has you can tell when it's Alex Van Halen playing. There's a
You can tell
taste. It's not a 4/4. It's like
he
he's a
does something
well-rounded.
different on a guitar solos.
Yeah.
It's always off timing, always off beat.
Well, that's
And it's
what it
always
is, right? It's that brother energy. It's like how long have those guys been playing together and like they're bound for success, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Alex Van Halen. Okay, let me start out this way. Eddie Van Halen is such an incredible guitar player that it overshadows his brother's incredible drumming.
Right. Right. As good as Alex is, Eddie's better guitarist. And wasn't it reversed initially with that band?
I believe so.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Alex Van Halen he's probably he's my top three of metal drummers, hard rock drummers in general. He's my top three.
Yeah, he's so good. And so how old were you then when you knew that you would be going down, you know, the music path to pay the bills and all that? Like, was it early?
No, it just happened, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't choose this as a career.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did it just happen then?
Yeah. Um Wow, it sounds so like arrogant and pompous, but I'm trying to tell you, Todd, it
Yeah,
happened
yeah, yeah.
early,
Tell it like it is, man.
right, right. So me and some buddies from around my way, like I said, I grew up in hip hop, so I had a crew. Myself and some MCs and another buddy of mine. His name is Ozzy. God rest the dead Ozzy, who kind of like is like very instrumental in a lot of people in the music business lives. So he was connected to Dr. Dre, who was, like I said, on Hot 97 with Ed Lover. They had the morning show spot, which is a very, as you know, that's the most important spot on the radio.
Sure.
He
If you don't have a
actually
good morning show, you don't have a good radio station in
that's the
general
anchor.
because people aren't sticking around.
It's the anchor.
Yeah, it's the anchor for sure.
He brought me in, and I eventually started working with the crew. Um, and that was my introduction in general to radio, just in general. So that's my also introduction to being in the music business, because that just led to other things. I was already a DJ, so being on a radio station, you kind of like have, the ends to promoters and people that are doing parties, concerts, other artists that are coming in, that you guys are interviewing. So that's my introduction to the music business, Hot 97. And of
Wow.
course, if you're on a number one radio show at that time, everything else is going to only follow and go uphill from there. So
Yeah.
that's my introduction to the music business. And that's when I decided, hey, well, this is going to be it. I was already a dad, and somebody's coming in right now.
Oh, nice. What's your dog's name? That's awesome.
Kobe,
Toby.
as in Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
That's right, as in Kobe Bryant. And
Incredible. That's great.
thank God.
I've got a golden retriever named Sergeant.
Really
Sergeant
nice.
Puppers. The Beatles.
We
Sergeant Puppers.
Sergeant Puppers. It's like Sergeant Peppers. Wow. How old is Sergeant?
2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy is 7 months now.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 months. So that's my introduction, pretty much to the music business, and
Yeah.
decided, well, this is it. This is what I'm going to be, and this is what I'm going to do. I was actually already a father. I was a father I was a teenage dad at the age of 19.
Oh, no
So
way.
it was at a perfect time for something like that to come. For me to do music full time.
Dude, that's
Um,
crazy. So you have a 33-year-old kid?
he's 33. He turned 33 January 31st, only a few weeks ago.
So you're 3 years old. So check this out. So you're 3 years old. Do you have any other kids?
No, that's my only child,
Okay.
but I have granddaughters.
Okay.
He has daughters.
Okay. So you're 3 years older, and my oldest is 12. I have a 12 and a 10-year-old. I
Okay.
started late to the party.
Wow.
I think
And
I was
boys,
almost,
girls,
yeah, I was like 38, I think, when I had my first 38, 39.
girl, boy.
Both boys.
Okay, okay, okay.
Both boys. So very easy, right? It's like, they're just little mini me's, and they're aggressive, and they like to play hockey, and they like to kickbox, and it's basically just me all over again.
So they keep you in shape.
Oh yeah, dude, man. Without those kids, I think I'd be 50, 60 pounds heavier easy.
That's right. My
Yeah.
granddaughters do the same. And this guy right here,
Yeah, they'll keep
the
you
same
young
for
too.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, training a dog, you got to walk him like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah,
Just a
man.
house,
All the time. Or they just go mental and they start getting the zoomies, and they're like going 50 kilometers an hour in your house. Zoom.
that shows how happy they are when they do that.
Yeah, is that happy, is it?
That's one, and then the other reason, because I googled it,
Hmm.
is because it's like a burst of energy that they didn't let out during the day or so. Like they have this like pent up energy. Like I guess you didn't walk them or play with them outside enough or throw the ball. It's like, yeah, this over energy that they gotta let out. Oh, it's here, and oof. Yeah, I googled it.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is the why do dogs do the zoomies?
I hadn't had a dog, since probably early high school. So it's been like 40 years, almost 35 years for me since having a dog.
Yep,
Forgot just how amazing they are, and you know, how they make you
same
feel
here.
better.
I had one growing up as a
Yeah.
kid. Family dog that my dad, raised and brought home. And all became so attached to him that I, like, most of my other family members swore off, never gonna get a dog again. And yeah, this is my first dog, and I don't even Max died maybe 90, 92.
Yeah.
Long
Sounds
time.
about right. Yeah, same for me. Doesn't it feel so good to have a pup again in your house, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You see this guy?
Yeah.
And I know what's going on with him right now.
Yeah.
So this morning I fed him and I took him for a walk. See now, Todd, this guy right here, he's been stubborn. Like he likes to sniff for a long time before he decides to poop. He's like, yo, I gotta take a shit, but
Well, but
I
I'll take
want to,
my time about it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm breaking him out of this. You know what I'm saying? So what I do now, is I only walk him for like 2 blocks. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to do it? Let's go back home. See, before I would do it and let him just walk and I do it until he does it. But now I'm limiting his time. I'm like, okay, I'll walk you for like 2 or 3 blocks around, grass filled area where he normally does. And he does. He's doing all that sniffing. He's doing all that sniffing. I'm like, bro, take care of your business, man. Do your business.
TikTok.
And he just does all that sniffing. All right, let's go back home. And I'll take him back out. He'll do it again. So I'm kind of like him and I are going through like a little something right now where you see him.
The mini struggles, dad and pups. That's cute.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey D, hit us. Fair to say you've had a pretty incredible, music career. Hit us with like some career highlights.
Boy, man. So I remember one time where I was with Salt-N-Pepa, I believe Denmark. Todd, I've been so many places with the young ladies. I've been to countries that I never knew existed, bro. I'm dead serious. Countries that I've heard their name for the first time. I never knew what Rotterdam was.
Right.
I think the first time I heard Rotterdam is when I went there. Honestly, I mean, bro, we've been so many places really far up. I've been to uh Oslo, way up there,
Like
and then
Norway.
the
Yeah.
yeah, I've been way up there and also been way down Australia many times, been on there 3 times with the ladies. And the thing is, I don't know if you've traveled really far outside of Canada,
Here and
but
there. Yeah.
when you're pretty far, you could feel it. You could
Sure.
feel that I'm far away from home.
Yeah.
Like I can remember looking up in the sky, being in Australia, being in New Zealand and stuff like that, and being like, whoa, D, you're far. And then when you realize you're far, you watch your step with everything you do, everything you eat, everything you drink, everywhere you go, every decision you make, because you feel vulnerable, you know. So that being said, so to answer your story, Africa, far away from home. Out there with Salt-N-Pepa. Nigeria, Lagos. And when we went out there, we had armed security with us everywhere we went, 24/7. Armed security with AK-47s on their back, multiple 4 or 5 guys that went with us everywhere we went, to the mall, wherever we went, they were with us. So one particular night, Peppa wanted to go to a club, and a friend of ours, well, one of the dancers, his name is Bam. We went to this club, and before even going to the club, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that the head security that was with us had said, "Hey, this club's kind of dangerous." So we go to the club, and it was myself, some of the dancers, of course, Peppa, who's a celebrity, and everyone knows that we're in the club. And I remember one of the dancers had wanted to go to the bathroom, and he got up on his own and went to the bathroom. And I remember the head of security guard, he said, "Where's Bam?" And they were like, "He went to the bathroom." Todd, he jets over to the bathroom and he gets him, he brings him over to us and he reprimands him. "You stay right here. I tell you, don't go anywhere. And when I say don't go anywhere, you don't go anywhere and do anything." So we're leaving the club eventually because it started getting packed and our security started getting nervous. He was like, "Yo, I want to leave. I'm making a decision. We're leaving." So we're leaving the club. Now we're in Lagos. We're in Nigeria. And one of the members that was with us had an expensive chain on, and I think he had diamonds on the chain as well. So we're walking out the club, and as we're walking out, our security was with us, but the car that we came there with, a Range Rover that we came there with, wasn't outside. So we have to wait outside now and wait for the car. You get it? We have people
Oh,
that have jury on.
yeah.
We got security that's telling us, yo, don't even go to the bathroom by yourself. And we're not inside the club where there are other security. We're outside of the club where there's just the world, whatever.
Yeah.
So now it gets interesting. So we're waiting, and I remember a guy with a wheelchair coming up, and he was saying something in their native tongue. And I remember he pointed at one of us. He said, yo, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. And the guy that he pointed out was the one that had the expensive chain on. And I'm like, fuck. Like we're like, yo, you
Oh, yeah.
know,
It's getting real.
at this moment, it was like five of us and just a security guard that was with us. Now, of course, he's packing and has whatever, but dude, I mean, there's like, the mob of people. Now,
Wow.
the guy that was in the wheelchair was the leader of these people. And we could tell he was the leader by the way he moved. I mean, Todd, you could tell who's in charge.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh shit. And lo and behold, as they started coming closer and closer to us, here comes our Range Rover. And when I say he came, it seemed like he ran people over when he came to us. That's what it seemed like. And he could have hit some people. Now, I'm telling you, this is what happened when he was coming to us. I didn't say when we left yet. So we get in the car, and when we get in, I remember our head security guard, he started banging on top of the roof of the car,
Like,
like,
go.
like making a loud noise, and he was saying something in their tongue, kind of like to spread the people that around us out, like yo, spread out or whatever. He was like boom, 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 and saying something in the tongue. So all of us like jumped into the SUV, and I know he hit people as he was driving away this time. And he didn't give a damn, bro. He was,
Wow.
oh yeah, man. Yo,
Like
that's some
life
scary shit, bro.
or death shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was some scary, scary shit. So yeah, like I said, I had to give you all of that up into it, bro. It was
Yeah.
bananas out there, and um, there are different sections of Africa that have different, uh, environments. This particular place in Lagos is really, really, really rough. It's really rough, which is the capital of Africa. It was really rough. And most people suggest that tourists, when they come there, that they do have some sort of armed security
Wow.
available to them.
That's insane. Was there many times? Like, was that an often occurrence? Like
I've
touring,
been out there.
like did you feel very often that your life was in jeopardy or in danger at all?
Then I did, yes,
Sure,
100%.
yeah. Of course, that
Yeah.
story, yeah, but like happened more than that though?
Oh no, not on that level. No, no,
Yeah.
I'm not a gangster rapper.
Yeah.
And I don't hang with gangster rappers. I'm
Oh my God.
a gangster rapper.
That's
No,
crazy.
man, but that was that was an interesting story. And
Yeah, dude.
that
Wow.
time, and yeah, going to Africa, how yeah, we were terrified, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see why. So outside of music, let's get to know you a little bit here. What are some of the shittier jobs you've had over your life?
Honestly speaking, Todd, like it's
You been
all good,
lucky?
man. Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, same.
Um, I did have one other job early when I first started music. I was actually still at Hot 97 though,
Mm,
doing this other job. I actually worked a place called Leeches USA. Like leeches, worms.
yeah, yeah.
Doctors still use those things, bro, in operations.
Really?
Yeah. So I worked at a leech farm that like yeah, we raise leeches, and I used to raise leeches and clean out their tanks. I would get new leeches coming in from the farm and everything, and I would clean them up, and yeah, it was called Leeches USA.
What a crazy job.
And I was doing that at the same time I was on the hottest radio show in New York.
Did you bring it up on the show much?
Nah, man.
Here and there?
Because I knew that was a temporary thing. I
Yeah, yeah.
knew, this is I'm doing this right now because this is really where I'm going. I
Yeah.
knew that. I knew
Yeah.
that.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been binge watching lately?
What I haven't been binge watching. I mean, so
Yeah. Right.
I'm a YouTuber, you know, as in like not that I'm participate a lot on YouTube, but I like to watch most of my content on YouTube.
Yeah.
I have Hulu, I have Netflix, and I have everything stored in my, to watch later and everything. But I just haven't, bro. You know, the last
Funny,
thing,
you can get stuck on that rabbit hole of YouTube and just like next, like just laughing and watching quick 20, 30, 40-second clips and
and the reason why that's easy to happen is because the next that you're talking about is related.
to what you just
Oh,
liked.
right. So it's like, well, you're already interested in that. You're definitely going to be interested in this. It's not like it's something totally different, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like most social media platforms, I feel like they don't know or they don't get the right algorithm. But
Uh-huh.
but YouTube, man, they've got it dialed.
Yeah. Yeah. They do. They do.
Yeah,
They do.
big time.
Todd, can I let him outside?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
Can I take a second? I
Yeah.
know. You see the way he's just sitting here looking at me?
Kobe's like,
I know what this means.
I will
Like,
shit on the fucking
yeah,
couch if you like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
hit
what
it.
this
Yeah,
means. Can
hit
you
it.
press
Yeah, no,
pause?
no problem, man. Yeah.
You can press pause.
Yeah, press pause, sure. Ah, there he is.
Yes.
There he is.
How
Yeah.
about that, bro?
Okay. What else do I want to know about? Okay, so hit us with what are you reading lately? Hit us with some autobiographies. Like recommend some good, books about the music industry.
Okay, so now when it comes to books about the music industry, I haven't read anything since the Bible, what they called this business of music that was written in the 90s.
Oh,
Because things have changed, Todd. TikTok is a major thing in the music business. So if you're going by old rules, how do you incorporate and include monetizing off of YouTube,
yeah.
streaming revenue, streaming business, and monetizing there as well? How do you include those things? But because these books that were written in the 80s, 90s, etc., they didn't include any of this stuff that's going on right now. So you have to revise everything.
Yeah.
Not only just revise because it's still being written right now. Things that's being all of these new rules. We're still writing in them right now. TikTok is how old? A few years?
Few years, but I mean TikTok is responsible for breaking so many bands now,
That's my point.
right?
That's my
Like,
point.
locally here, I don't know if you know a band called Mother Mother,
No,
but they blew up one song, just took off on TikTok, and suddenly, they have 120,000 followers on Twitter. They have 200,000 likes on Facebook, and it's like one song just goes fucking
so
boom.
how do you read a book in the 90s and explain that? How does that apply to TikTok?
Right.
That wasn't even invented in the 90s.
Yeah,
you
true.
know so yeah, when it comes to those things, philosophy, now that's where I love to read and love to explore uh different authors and different meanings. So right now, excuse me, right now I've been going into like ancient civilization in ancient Africa.
Mm,
Right. And it brings me back to places that like where Egypt was called Kemet before it was called Egypt. And there's other civilizations that are pre-dynastic times uh Nakata, things that were recorded that are there right there in our museums, Todd.
mhm.
Um the origin of human, the origin of man, it's definitely didn't start 2,000 years ago. This is a big conversation, and it just helps it helps me understand who I am today.
I love that you brought up
Because
Egypt because I kind of
talk to
want
me.
to like For me, that's one of those like, man, I have to go there. It's one of my bucket lists. I need to go there. I need to go to the pyramids. I need to, be there. Uh,
Yeah.
and I want to bring this up as in a most natural way as I possibly can. Uh, do you think aliens had anything to do with all of that stuff?
So I was 100% there at one time. Now okay, and then I was maybe 60-40 not,
Yeah.
and now I'm like maybe 60-40 yes. Um because humans have been here, Todd, for I mean millions of years, bro. You know?
Mm.
Um and yeah, I've read and all the Anunnaki, the philosophy, that Stitchin had written about, and a lot of people talk about as well. Um, I'm actually, since you're talking about something like that, I actually just today just started watching this new series on Hulu. It started in February. I think it's on National Geographic about what's going on up top, and all of these pilots that have just been complaining and saying, look, we see things every day. And we literally every single day, they're like, yeah, we have, they don't even call them UFOs anymore. They call them something phenomenon, UPAs, I think, unidentified phenomenal something. They don't even call it UFOs anymore. So
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they call them like some type of phenomenon at this point.
Didn't they just shoot down a UFO over Alaska, like in the last week or two?
Isn't that something related to China though?
Though with the balloon and all that shit? No, I don't think so. I think they actually shot down a UFO.
In Alaska.
Yeah, like within the
It's
last week
possible.
or so.
Because listen, Todd, they're just not telling us,
But
everything. And that's the thing.
and I think a lot of
That's
it
the
has to do
pilots
with
are complaining about. They're like, yo, you gotta tell the American public this because this is a national security now. We don't even know who's driving these things and the formations and patterns that these things are doing. They're going against like 80 knots of wind. They're going against it. And driving, I think the one I saw today, Todd. So, we have craft that go up to 3,000 miles.
yeah,
You know that.
yeah,
Because the average commercial flight 300 to 400 miles per hour. But we do have, planes that can go up to 3,000 miles an hour.
right.
They clocked in these craft up to 13,000 miles an hour, bro.
And then turning 90 degrees.
So you've seen the same thing I've seen. That same exact,
Insane. Like,
I've
how
seen that
could it
same
not
exact thing. Yeah.
be like we are being watched? There's maybe even they're living among us.
Yes. And with this type of technology that's going on, like how you explain, I can take a picture right now of this. I could take a picture of it. And right now I could send it to someone within seconds in Japan. How do you explain that? And you know what? No one's even questioning why is this like how do you explain that? If you're
Right.
going to talk about certain other things that's supernatural. And it's happening every day, every second. That's supernatural. I could take a photo of something and send it in the air with no wires. There's no wires. It's not like, it's going through it. There's no wires. Send it through air, through oxygen, through the air, bro.
I know.
On the other
Imagine if
side
the
of the
world
planet.
were like reliant on us to get to this point, we'd still be using like would not be anywhere near where we are.
How do you explain that? Explain it.
I don't know, man. Don't know how to.
And then when you look at almost every ancient civilization, there, in the writings that they left us, you know, almost all of them, you have like depictions of humans pointing, somewhere in the sky, pointing in the sky, or you have depictions of some type of humans or some type of flying thing or something with flight, something related to the sun, in flight. in almost every ancient civilization,
Hmm.
going back to Sumer. They spoke about the Sumerians. Again, when you ask me what I read, I mean, that's the stuff I love to going down just a rabbit
Oh
hole.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just hours and
Yeah.
hours and hours of it.
Oh, years of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You ever get into the what's that guy's name? Is same the last name as me. I think his name's James Hancock. No, it's his name. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast and talking about alien life form in Egypt and how within certain degrees and like how impossible it will be even with today's technology to get to these certain markers and based on certain lines on the Earth and the globe and like just I
He's on
love
Joe
that shit,
Rogan's
man.
podcast.
Pardon me.
And he's on Joe Rogan's podcast.
He's been on there as a guest, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder who.
Um, Graham Hancock.
Okay. I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah, look him up, man. He's also got a show. I think it's on the Discovery Channel where he just goes around to different places on Earth and dissects them and kind of looks back at the history of it and the implications and of what their culture did and how it impacted ours present day. It's
Right.
very interesting, man. It's very cool.
Todd, when you go and get inside stuff like that, it just humbles your own existence.
Right? Like
Yeah. It
we
makes you
are
see,
living at the perfect time. Again, like we got so lucky, you and
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
to be born when we were born,
Right.
to live through no technology,
Right.
to fucking like
To do this
I'm sending you a text and it's like 3 seconds later, you're like,
seconds,
yeah, bro, I'll jump on. Like
seconds.
seconds later. It's crazy.
Right. And you and I remember the time when we had to go to the record store to buy a record, like we were talking earlier, to take it home to
Totally.
listen, all the way to the beginning to end. Now you just could
Yeah.
choose, pick what you want to
It,
pick.
it, it was part like, now music is kind of almost like it's disposable. Let's just say it is. I mean, it
Of course
sucks
it is.
to say that it is, but it is. But back then, it was like, you would go to the record store, grab the liner notes, sit in front of mom and dad's record player, put it on.
Right. That's what
Song,
I did.
first song starts playing. You're reading along to like where was it produced, who did it. Oh, it was cool. It's done. This was done in New York. This was done in Boston. That's crazy. Two
How about
different
this, Todd?
cities for one album. Like what?
You just said you would go to the record store. You would hang out at the record store.
Totally, man. It was the place.
Hey.
It was the place, man. Especially, obviously, if you're a music nerd, right? Like, I could have stayed in a record store for like days.
Bro, I remember going to not just the record store. I remember going to Sam Ash, which is a uh big uh music store here, not record store, music store, instruments and whatnot.
Yeah,
And as a little kid, just going there, just hanging out, wanting to be around this type of stuff.
yeah.
Just looking at drum sets that you see in my back, like just looking at them like, wow. Just looking at the wood, it looked like furniture to me. It was just so big, and I would always just wonder and just always want these type of kits. And how it is when you were a kid, man. You were a music lover as well. You just fantasize.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for me, it was music and comic books.
That
That's it.
as well.
You
Yeah.
too, eh?
The World Comic Books is still my Hulk cage is right there behind me. You could probably that's my Hulk cage. That's my Kiss. These are my Kiss dolls right there.
Okay. Nice, dude.
Evil Knievel is right here.
Nice.
All of us freaking old middle aged dudes are the same. Am I right,
We're
Todd?
all the same, man.
We're all
Of
the
course.
same. We're the same.
Yeah. So, what did you grow up as, a Marvel or DC guy?
Marvel, totally.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Spider Man. So even ask it. Spider Man.
Right. I
Spider
mean,
Man. Spider Man.
X-Men,
Spider
Iron
Man.
Man, all that shit, Avengers. Like, are you as
Those are fun.
surprised as I am to see where that world is present day? Like, dude, I got fucking rubbed pretty hard for reading comic books as a kid, like, oh, you're a geek and nerd and blah blah blah. It's like, really, like, all I'm doing is immersing myself in a really cool world.
Really? Oh no, everyone around me did.
Really? Yeah,
Everyone around
not
me
me,
read
man.
comic books. Bro, we used to go to like the store like 7-Eleven here. Well, not here when I grew up in New York.
Yeah,
And we would, you know, and it amazes me now think about how it increases your reading skills. Bro, we would read comic books there in the store to try to read them so quickly before the guy realized that you were reading them and put them down. So we would try to read as
sure.
many
Right
comic
off
books
the rack, like,
as right as
quick,
possible.
plow
Yeah,
through. Yeah, man.
that's right.
Yeah,
Right,
same.
me and my boys. So many guys around me, we all, I grew up around guys that read comics, man, did graffiti and all of that. Um, yeah, comics was a big deal for me and still is. I've seen all of the Marvel
Yeah,
movies, last one of them,
yeah. I mean, I
and
think once,
DC as
what,
well.
yeah, same, same. I still do lean more Marvel. I do love DC, but something about Marvel for me was like, a really big percentage of my life was spent to that, and like, to see, initially when they first started putting movies out, it wasn't where it is today, right? But once
No.
John Favreau got his hands on the Iron Man franchise and he started banging out those movies and setting the bar, like, if you want to do a movie, better be here or don't even
Iron Man 1 is
fucking try, like, there's
that
no
was the bar.
point. Once it got to that point, man, now it's just like, I
Iron Man 1 was the bar.
yeah, 100%.
That because before that we had those cheesy well, they weren't cheesy, they were good for the time, the Spider-Man movies,
Sure.
the Fantastic Four movies, but
But
once
they
that
didn't
Iron
hold a
Man 1,
candle. Yeah, man.
once that dropped, it was like, okay, every movie now has to be this. And then once Captain America Winter Soldier,
With multiple characters, and like suddenly you're getting like just blockbuster
right?
after
Oh no, was that Civil
blockbuster.
War, right? Civil War. I'm thinking of Captain America Civil War. That
Yeah,
had
where
multiple
where
movies,
it's where
right?
it's Iron Man and he has his team and Cap has his team, and yeah,
That's practically an Avenger movie.
yeah, dude, crazy, right?
Right? It's a Captain America movie, but it's practically an Avenger movie.
Yeah.
Civil
Which
War.
power would you want to have?
I'm always Spider-Man, bro.
Spider-Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Even though I know, see, yeah, yeah, because of course he can't beat everyone, but he seems to beat everyone, but he can't. It's his agility, his smarts, and whatnot. Peter Parker, man, is a fascinating guy, man. You know, he has a love life. There's not a lot of superheroes that their entire world, like a Clark Kent. You know his everything about him. You know, like you don't know everything about Tony Stark. You don't.
Right. He's a philanthropist, he's a billionaire, he's you
You don't
know,
know nothing about him growing up, really.
yeah, he's a womanizer, but that's about it, really.
That's
Like,
his adult life. That's all.
sure.
We saw Peter Parker, man, grow up from a little kid.
Yeah, yeah.
High school. We saw him grow up from a little kid in high school. We saw Clark Kent grow up. You get my point?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
saw these guys grow up from little kids. Little kids. So we know that's my point. You see what I'm saying? There's certain characters that became who they were. Wolverine. What do you know about him? You only know him from being an adult through the X-Men, because you said X-Men, right? You
Sure.
don't know him prior to that. Nothing about him.
Right.
Spider-Man, you know everything about him.
Right. In fact, with Wolverine, you don't really know how old he is because of his healing factor.
That is true.
You know a bit of his backstory, but that's, not really.
And it's deliberate with him. He's like, yo, no, I blocked all that out.
Yeah.
Before the Mantium, before no, I don't know anything. I don't even know if my name is Logan. I don't. We don't. You
Right.
don't know that,
Well, you don't know.
right? Like he has a tag. This, okay, I guess that's my name,
I love
right? Sabretooth. Oh, it's not too many Fantastic Four. You don't know these guys until they're adults.
Yeah.
There are other superheroes, like again,
Yeah.
man, you knew him when he was a little kid with the
Right.
bats. See, these guys, they bring you into their world.
Dude, I love that you love comic books as well. That's great.
Yeah, you can see him with the, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about them deep.
How about sports? Are you a big sports guy? Like, did you watch the Super Bowl this past weekend?
Of
And
course, man. I got beat up online on my Facebook page for a comment I made about the Rihanna halftime show. I
oh,
wrote
what'd you say?
I I wrote that I wrote Rihanna's presence is goddess. I said her aura is close to Michael Jackson's. How do you take that?
I would agree.
Okay. Now I got beat up because everyone was saying, "Oh, she doesn't perform. Her performance was this. Her performance was that." And I'm like, I didn't say anything about her performance. Her aura, her presence, who she just
Who she
when a
is,
person walks in a room, it's like, oh, such and such, you could feel their aura, their presence.
right?
Then I told the story of when I was in Vegas, Salt-N-Pepa, we did a residency in Vegas a few years ago, and it was for 6 months. And at that time, J Lo was she was doing a residency, Boys to Men. I mean, everybody was coming to our show. I'll be sure, Teddy Riley, um, all the celebrities that were out in Vegas. What's the not Copperfield, the other one from Long Island. What's the other magician?
Oh, not the guys that
Illusion.
got mauled by the tiger.
No,
Siegfried and Roy? No.
no, he's one guy. He's been in Vegas for a while. So all these people come to the show, these big celebrities. When Mike Tyson came, Todd, to the show, his aura, his presence. When I met Mike Tyson, I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, that's Mike Tyson. Like,
Tyson.
and I remember Todd looking at his head and his neck and everything. Yo, that dude is way bigger than people think, Todd. He's not a little dude. I mean, dude, man. Yo, Mike Tyson's neck is bigger than my entire head. His neck. Yo, he's and again, I was like, you like Mike Tyson. You know, when Holyfield beat Mike Tyson, the first time they were still enemies. The second time after he beat Mike Tyson, and they shook each other's hand. You know what Holyfield said to him? He was like, yeah, man, I won the fight, but you're Mike Tyson.
Right?
You kidding? He was like, but you're Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you're bigger than me. You're bigger. You this
Sure.
fight,
It's,
you're bigger than boxing. He's like, yeah, I beat you in this boxing world. He was like, you're Mike Tyson, though, man. Like, you're legendary.
sure.
By, by him saying that to Tyson alone, you understand what he's saying to Tyson by
Dude, are
saying
you
that.
kidding me, man? Like that is undisputable that certain people have auras and just a presence that fills. Like undisputed. I've been around people over my life through working at CFOX that Chad Kruger, Nickelback, Tommy Lee. Like when you meet these people and they're fucking bigger than life, man.
You feel it, man. You feel it.
You feel it. Yeah, 100%.
Feel it, dude.
Yeah, man.
They fill up a room.
Yeah.
They
That's
fill up a
crazy, man.
room,
Meeting Mike Tyson. Like, yes, Mike
bro.
freaking Tyson, dude.
He got him so high, man. He complained the next day. He called Salt Pepper's manager the next day. It was like, yo, Jimmy, yo, DJ Bourne, man, yo, man, I don't know what he had in his weed. Yo, that motherfucker.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
I
Yo,
love it.
imagine smoking weed with Mike Tyson, dude.
That shit's crazy, man. Like smoking with Snoop or with like Willie Nelson, like
Imagine that.
larger than life characters.
Well, I've been in some rooms that I will never say their names, and I've had some, yo, Todd, I've had some rock and roll moments and been like, wow, I'm actually here with such and such
Yeah.
as like, wow, I'm taking a piss next to
Yeah.
like
Right.
you and I are still fans. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
certain things like mean it's like, dude, I used to watch you, or you get my point? Or
Yeah,
like
man.
I'm witnessing you. Like, yeah, I remember one night being in a hotel room just partying with someone. Like they had a room full, it was after show, and there was champagne and drinks, and I invited some friends in, and they were like, yo, D, this is some rock and roll shit. And like all those Motley Crue stories that we've heard. Of course, I didn't live that life, but watch this, Todd. Someone else I brought in to experience that looked at me or that experience the same way I would look at the experiences I would read in Circus Magazine, when it came to those
Yeah.
guys.
Like Hit Parader and yeah.
It just fucked you up by saying that, huh? He was like, oh,
Totally, man.
shit. Yeah.
Circus Magazine. Fuck yeah, buddy.
It was in
Rolling
Circus
Stone and like
Magazine. It paraded.
circus and shit. Like,
Whoa. He's the real deal when it comes. Yeah.
oh yeah, man.
Way before Kerrang and all that, right?
Oh yeah,
Circus
man. That's like back in the Columbia House days. Like, hold on a second. How the fuck can you get 8 records
for a penny.
for a penny? How? What?
For a penny. Right? Remember that?
Dude, man, I did that so many times.
And
Filled
then
it out like
just
10 times and got 100 CDs or some shit,
for a penny.
For a penny, man.
Well, how did that happen? How we were able to? How did we do that?
Because you got to buy like 20 more at fucking whatever price, but then
We
you just
didn't.
cancel it. Like, come find me then, I guess.
Did that
I don't know how they did it.
for a penny? Not
Pretty
even
awesome.
Todd. It was a penny.
It was a penny, yeah.
Yeah. Buy like 16 or whatever.
Yeah. And like you had to like lick the stamp, put it down on the piece of paper, like here's the one I want. Lick it, put it down.
Oh shoot.
Oh
Hey,
shit.
It's 5 o'clock. I gotta pick up my wife.
Okay, man. I go walk the dog.
You want to close it out or something like that?
Right now, yeah, we will close it out. Yeah. I mean, you're easy to find, right? You're easy to find online. The DJ Dee Wiz.
The DJ Dee Wiz. Yeah, you could get me at on Instagram. Yeah, the DJ Dee Wiz, brother.
Instagram, Twitter. You're DJ Dee Wiz on Facebook. That's
Yes.
it. We have officially closed her out.
My man. Thanks for having me, Todd.
Dude, thank you for
the
coming on.
Toddcast podcast, everybody. Check it out.